Hey, this is Neil Clements, and this is The Real Deal with Neil. Today we're talking about the 3 biggest real estate investing mistakes and how to avoid them. Everything from not doing it at all to doing it all by yourself and doing it wrong. So we're gonna hit it all today. Let's go. So the first mistake is analysis paralysis. I've got to enunciate those words very clearly because they're hard to say. But essentially, it's not doing what you need to do because you're stuck analyzing things for way too long. And so the best way I could describe it is you think so long, you think so hard about something that you just way overanalyze it, so much so that you cause yourself to be paralyzed, to be able to have indecision and to be able to not know, should I do this, should I do this, should I do this, should I do this? And there's a really, really good book out there by Dan Sullivan called Who Not How. And in it, it says that perfection is the enemy. And perfection is not what we should be striving to be. Because, we're human, we can't be perfect. And the best way to get past analysis paralysis is to go out there and be willing to fail. And now that is one of those things that is, I'm sure, very easy to say, very hard to do, right? As with most valuable things in life. But if you look at the most successful people in this world, especially the biggest entrepreneurs, the people who are most wealthy in this world right now, their failures are numerous. Whether it's personal, whether it's business, they have failing a lot. Failure is the language that they speak, and failure is the path to success. And I'm not encouraging you to go out and just fail, but there's a difference between productive failure and an unproductive failure. And what I'm trying to say is that the way to get past analysis paralysis is to fail your way forward, to do enough action to where you think you will succeed. But if you still fail, at least you got the learning from it to be able to get past it. All right, number 2, being a lone ranger, trying to do it all yourself. And when you try to do everything by yourself, you realize that you're limited by your own time, and that limits your dollar per hour, it limits how much you're able to make. And truly, you can't be an expert in all areas. If I don't even take our staff, but if I look at our investment team of people that we have, just like third-party contractors that we need to have to make almost every deal work, everything from a lender to a realtor to a title company, an attorney, the CPA that files our taxes, our inspectors, our engineers, our surveyors, our coaches and mentors, contractors, insurance agents. And that's just starting out with, 10 different people or more that we need on every transaction? I've heard it said, your network is your net worth. And being a lone ranger and trying to do everything by yourself is simply a recipe for failure. You need people, you need help, and you need experts in the field, and you need to pay them correctly. A perfect example of this, I think, comes from God's word, the Bible, Ecclesiastes 4:1. And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. And the reason that I bring that up is just to say, is that not necessarily that you need partners in the business. You don't need to take on equity partners. You can if you want to, but you need to have people around you who are motivating you on, who are pushing you, who are experts in the field, who know when to tell you when a deal is good, when a deal is bad. You need to have all these third-party vendors in place to be able to help you through deals. And gosh, if you just try to do it by yourself, it's just less fun. Number 3, overpaying and not knowing your value. You're doing it wrong if you overpay, right? And I'll tell you what, I've done it wrong several times, so I can speak from experience, tell you how not to do it. Most of the times that I have overpaid for properties, it wasn't from comping properties incorrectly, which is the first thing that you need to know how to do. You need to know how to know value. And how do you know value? Well, you either study comps and or bring in a realtor who's local to that market to help you get a pricing opinion on what they think it could sell for. But most of the times that I've had bad properties, it's because I was so desperate at the time for a deal because I didn't have enough lead flow to give me enough motivated and distressed sellers to be able to give me the opportunity to negotiate a really good deal that is worth doing. And so if you're somebody who already knows how to comp, that's the first thing to start with. If you're somebody who already has good relationships with realtors or good people who can give you values for properties, and you still find yourself overpaying for properties, it's a lead generation hurdle. It's an acquisitions hurdle. It's not a due diligence hurdle. And it's because you're too desperate to buy properties, because as a flipper, we know that we have to keep the investment going. right? We have to buy properties so that we can sell them. It's not like we can just stop buying properties and still make money. And so you need to up it on the lead generation, get more leads so that you're not so freaking desperate every time you talk to a seller, and you don't sound desperate because you need to make a paycheck here in the future. And I mean, the other reason that you could be having an issue, right, is if you skip due diligence. If you skip, you comp a property, you see it's worth it, you're not desperate because you had plenty of deals, but if you skip a step in due diligence, well, that's gonna hurt you immensely. I'll give you an example. So there was a property in our local area that we really liked. I think it was like 10 acres. Seller was asking a pretty good deal for it, low market value, or so we thought. So we looked at going under contract on it, and we did our due diligence, and we came back, and it was a residential lot. Somebody was probably gonna build a house on it for a ranchette. Electric checked out, sewage checked out, it was gonna be septic. We checked water though, and we realized that the local municipalities couldn't supply water to the property. Okay, well, let's look at a well. Well, we came to realize that all the quotes we got for wells were $100,000 plus. And I'll tell you, the value of this property was maybe only $200,000. And really the only use for the property that somebody was gonna do on it was put a house on it, just for various reasons. And so if we would have skipped that step of due diligence, an otherwise great property that everything would have been great on, it appeared to have all the value, all the comps showed it, the realtors that we spoke to, right? Everybody told us, oh, it's a great deal, it's a great deal. But as we dove into it and we thought about our end buyer, we thought about who we were gonna be selling it to, what they value, not what we value. We figured out that that property was not a good deal. And it was not something that we should be doing because our due diligence showed us that our end buyer was not going to buy it because they weren't going to install a $100,000 water well on a $200,000 property and pay us anywhere close to market value. And so I'll tell you though, to sum this whole section up, the best way to prevent overpaying on properties is to comp properties well, know their value, have an abundance of leads to where you have a ton of shots to get really motivated sellers at really low prices, to not skimp on due diligence, and to make sure that you know your value and have supported that from multiple different sources, from your own beliefs to realtors, heck, even to appraisers if you need to bring one in, to be able to know that you're not doing it wrong and you're not going to overpay for a property. So guys, hope you enjoyed that. Those are the 3 biggest mistakes real estate investors make and how to avoid them.